What if I told you there was an electric vehicle that went 1,000 miles, that you essentially never had to plug in, charged off the sun? Sound almost unreal, right? It's not. It exists, and it's called the Aptera, and we're gonna take a look at it now. All right, cool. So we are here at the Tesla Takeover. We're looking at the Aptera, and we're here with Chris, the CEO of Aptera. Chris, thanks for joining me. I've been good, but I've been shocked as well as the stuff that I've seen here at the Takeover, specifically your vehicle here. I mean, insane. What is some things you can tell me about this vehicle? Because I'm sure for the viewers, they're looking at this going, that can't be real. Like, there's no way. This looks like something out of the future.
This is the Aptera. It's a focus on brutal first principles engineering. When you look at vehicle efficiency, you find that aerodynamics is a big deal. In sedans and SUVs, you can burn up to 70% of your fuel at highway speeds just pushing air out of the way. So if you could take that down to zero, you'd get 70% better fuel economy.
Right.
So that's what we did. We focused on aerodynamics first. Second biggest loss is rolling resistance, so the weight of the vehicle. We made this really lightweight. Then it's the efficiency of our powertrain. How do you get the power out of the wall to your wheels?
Right.
So we actually put the motors in the wheels, so we get about 25–30% more efficiency than a typical motor.
This kind of casing on there.
Yep.
So the motor's actually in there, and there's a motor on each one. So safe to assume it's a tri-motor vehicle?
Yeah, all-wheel drive gets you 0 to 60 in 4 seconds.
Wow.
Gets you great stability control because you can modulate each wheel within 30 seconds of a rotation.
And this entire piece moves as you steer.
Yeah, this is the steering system.
Yeah.
So it moves as you drive.
And then safe to say these are like blinker lights here?
Yeah, these are just signal lights. There's also a blinker light in here. But yeah, when you're turning, we want people to know that the solar-powered spaceship is turning, so watch out.
Solar-powered spaceship. I like that terminology of this. And you can see from the side exactly what you're talking about is like that wild, jarring look is done for the aerodynamics. And we've seen like such a big focus on drag coefficient and how important that is. And I think a lot of people don't realize, like, if you take a square object and push it through the air is a mass, you're gonna get some resistance. And having a streamlined vehicle like this, that's very much like an airplane, is gonna give you the best aerodynamics, which results in this crazy range. Talk to me about this range. And I know like people have heard 1,000 miles, which is nuts, and that's gonna be the highest end vehicle.
Yep.
But it starts at what, 400 miles?
The entry-level vehicle is 250 miles. We have a 400 mile, 600 mile, and 1,000 mile.
So there's a range for everybody here. And then the neat thing about this is like, you don't really have to plug it in.
Every day you can get 40 miles of free power from the solar generator in the sky.
That's amazing. You don't have to plug in the vehicle. There's 4 panels of solar, and I mean, obviously you can configure if you don't want all 4, if you want to sub out the back window for a solar panel, you could do that. But a truly off-the-grid vehicle, you could go anywhere unlimited and never have to worry because the sun's always out for the most part.
The base vehicle comes with the roof and the dashboard.
And just those will give you about how much?
18 miles a day.
But if you have all 4 panels in,
you get about 40 miles a day.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. The average American drives about 31 miles.
Yeah.
So for the average person, you may never have to plug your Aptera in.
Yeah.
In Southern California, if you took up all the miles in a year, you get about 11,000 miles of free power from the sun a year. If you live in some dreary place like Seattle or Austin, you get about 8,000 miles a year. So still pretty useful range, a little less in Southern California, but if you live in a sunny area, this is a vehicle for you.
Yeah.
You don't even have to plug it in. You just leave it outside. It charges, ready for you anytime you want.
And now this is the only config, right? So it comes in a 2-seater. But I also noticed that on top of the 2 seats, there's a ton of room in the back. Yeah. A huge trunk. Let's come around and take a look at this. A lot of space for storage, maybe even a bed.
Yes, we actually have a tent that goes over the rear hatch.
Oh, nice.
And you can put some foam down and have a great camping experience. And when you push the seat forward and tilt it forward, you have about 7 feet from the rear of the seat to the tail. So
I
lots
think-
of useful room.
Yeah.
You put your feet down there, you put your head back here, you can look up at the stars, you can have a nice camping experience.
That's a good point.
And a
Nice
cool-
big glass to see out of.
The cool thing about the aptera is you can drive 200 miles to your favorite camping spot. You can camp for a week and you can actually come back with more energy in your battery pack than you left with.
Amazing. You don't have to worry. And so now you can actually discover like new camping sites because you're not dependent on a plug that's there.
Not dependent on the grid. Grid independence is a great feature of this vehicle.
Yeah. Now, even though it's grid independence, it still can, like a traditional electric vehicle, plug in.
Yep.
What's the plug situation, the charging situation look like?
We actually were the first company to adopt the NAC standard for our charging plug.
There you go. Look at that. We
And
all have
it was
heard a lot about this
it was
now.
a journey to get the NAC standard adopted, but we started a petition a year and a half ago that Congress should make legislation that the Tesla charge standard should be the North America charge standard. And we got 42,000 people to sign that petition. I think we got the ear of just the right amount of people. And now the Tesla standard's open, and Ford and GM
How does
and
that
Mercedes.
feel now to be like, at first you guys took a leap, but doing that, and then now to see some of these giant players now jump on and say, hey, we're going to adopt the same charging as well.
I mean, we did it because look at this thing. It's bleeding edge engineering. It's everything that is the best of engineering. Lightweight, super powerful and efficient drivetrain, the best in composite technology, carbon fiber, monocoque chassis, super safe. And then we're going to put a stupid SAE charge plug that, you know, looks like it's, you know, designed in the 1960s.
Right.
Looks like it's for the space shuttle, not, you know, an electric vehicle.
I agree.
So, you know, you feel the Tesla plug and you're like, that makes sense. You grab a CCS plug and you're like, well, why? This is bigger. This is bigger than the gas handle that I used to put gas in cars 20 years ago.
That is true.
Like, are we moving forward or are we moving backwards?
I would hope not backwards. What's the weight on this vehicle?
This is a 2,200 pound vehicle with a 400-mile range battery pack.
Wow. And I noticed that you touched on this is safety. So I had two questions on safety. I noticed there's a lot of cameras. How many cameras total around this vehicle?
There's a low rear camera. That's for when you're backing up.
Yep.
There's a high rear camera that's mounted in the light up there. It's not actually included in this version.
Okay.
But that's where the high mount light camera will be. That will show you kind of what's going on behind the vehicle.
Right.
And then there's 2 cameras on each side. So it's a 4-camera system. And if you add the autopilot, it's a 5-camera system.
Got it. And I'm assuming there's 2 cameras on the wheels as well, because I saw those on this vehicle.
Those are actually ultrasonic sensors. So when you're parking, you can tell where the curb is and stuff.
So you guys still have the ultrasonic sensors,
Yeah.
which I love. I love that. This is awesome.
You know, the cameras are great, but we don't process information the same way as FSD does.
Right.
You know, we've adopted the Comma AI autopilot system.
Okay.
And it works a little bit differently than the Tesla system. So, you know, it's a great system. It's well versed. It's open source. So we have a large community of people actively working on it, making it better over time. But the traditional ultrasonic sensors are great for parking. They're cheap. Easy to calibrate, so it made sense for us to go. We could work with the Comma system in the future to try to detect that stuff, but for now, ultrasonic sensors.
Yeah, and I know that the guys were talking, this is a gamma vehicle, right? So it's still not...
Yeah, so we'll have 4 phases of development before we get into production. So alpha, beta, gamma, delta.
Okay.
I know it doesn't make any sense to the Greek alphabet, but that's how the software guys have done it forever, so we just adopted that standard. But this is a gamma vehicle. It's 1 step before our delta vehicle.
Okay.
The delta vehicle will be a production intent vehicle, not necessarily built out of production tools.
Okay.
So once we get all the production tools ready and we've had some time with the delta vehicle to go through validation and calibration, then we'll have the release candidate, the production vehicle.
Yeah.
So, you know, we think we'll have the first validation vehicles by the end of this year.
Okay.
It'll take us kind of 6 months to go through that validation and calibration, and hopefully we have a release candidate by next summer. We're able to hand somebody the keys and they can drive home in their own aptera.
Exciting. And at what point in that process, is the one question that I had, and I'm sure others have this too, as they see this very wild shape and design, is safety, right?
Yeah.
So at what point do we test out, or maybe you guys have already done this, but you know, safety crash testing, like how safe is the vehicle? What happens if you get hit like here or on the front or where the wheel is and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've tested previous versions of this body structure. We've greatly enhanced it with the use of carbon fiber. We're building the bodies in Italy and done a lot of you know, work with great supercar designers to make the vehicle even safer. But when we last tested this body structure, it had the highest roof crush strength of any passenger car on the road.
Really?
Since then, we've added a really big boxed out section here and a boxed out section in the door, and door hinges and latches that tie together really nicely for side impact protection.
Yeah.
Most injuries in side impact come at your hip, so we really try to protect your hip point here.
Yeah.
And in the front, we have 750 millimeters of crushable space.
Saw that, yeah.
It takes 650 millimeters to get a 5-star crash rating in the US.
Oh, wow.
So we think we've done a lot to make this not just a safe vehicle, but the safest vehicle we can put on the road. Because I want my mom to be able to drive this. I want my grandkids to be able to drive in this one day. I want this to be a vehicle for everyone, and it needs to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump inside and take a look at what they've done on the inside. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that leg room. My legs are straight.
Yeah.
That's pretty, oh, I like that. It's like pretty comfortable in the fact, like at first you get in and you're like, oh no, there's this, but then you realize that you can like fully make your legs straight.
Yeah, we don't have a dead pedal down there yet. There's some HVAC stuff that goes in there that will creep that back about 4 inches. But you can bring your seat back another 3 inches too. So, it's
oh, this is like, oh, I could sleep like this.
It's a nap time.
Yeah, this is great.
If you've got 1,000 miles range, you better be comfortable driving 1,000 miles, right?
That is true.
The changes that we've made from this Gamma vehicle to our production vehicle is, one, we've made the center screen a 12.8 inch screen.
Okay.
We pushed it up and in a little bit, so we kind of keep this out of your knee area.
Yeah.
But this is actually the vent that air comes out of, so there's no.
Oh, there's like a
center
first thing I
vent.
touched was this channel.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? And so you have air coming out and around this.
But this is cool. It's a quadrant system, so you can have air up, air low. You can mix air. You can have air pointing out to the sides, or focus more to the middle. So we have it ducted in a really unique way inside, and it's the Tesla has their very thin vane, and they use baffles to trick the air up and down. We kind of do the same thing with this, but we have more surface area to do that, and we don't have to fill the dash with vents all over the place. We basically duct all the air to here, and then we keep the baffles inside this plastic enclosure.
And I also noticed too on the dash you've got solar panels here as well.
Yeah,
so
those solar cells too. It gets shaded from the overhang of the roof some, so it's not as effective as the other panels, but it still does give you a pretty good amount of power throughout the day.
Oh, I like this. So you may not be able to see it here, but digital display, going back to the camera in the back, which I've been a big fan of. And this actually, we were talking about that the rear glass can be subbed out. Like right now, I believe you have the see-through glass, but it can be upgraded to be a solar panel glass. But a solar panel glass, you won't be able to see through.
Yes,
so this solves that problem. It's a huge view. I can see. I mean, well, right now someone's standing behind us, but
and when you're backing up, it goes to the lower camera, and you can see everything really low. And when you're driving, it's the higher camera, so you can see a wider view of what's going on behind you. But we actually changed the design of this, and we integrated it with the lights and the hazard button and the mic, and this is all one plastic bucket that comes up here. That actually raises this up another 1.5 inches, so it's really in the roof structure.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more.
So it gives you a little more spread, and the screen's smaller. So the production version does have a pretty airy feel about it. It's really open and happy.
The seats are pretty nice.
This is a single density foam seat. We're going to production with a multi-density foam seat, so we hope it's even more comfortable.
Oh, nice.
But we're a few months away from having a seat to validate.
Yeah, and then this looks like recycled material for.
This is pineapple leather, so it's made from pineapple husks. So it's kind of infinitely renewable. We eat the middle of the pineapple, and then we usually throw out the rest of it. But this is really just to show that our center console is made to be modular. So there'll be an armrest storage piece. There'll be like a cup holder, and then storage or cell phone charger down there. But you can trade these 3 pieces in and out. This is actually scooted back.
Oh,
that's where it's supposed to be.
Got it.
But you can have your phone charger up here. You can have a drink holder. But what we want is for aftermarket people to help us with accessories. Basically unclip these, and you can add any kind of accessory.
Yeah, they're just like little rivets, or sort of rivets, but they're just the fabric. You can just pop it off like this, and then
add whatever you
take
want.
It off and add whatever you want. And if it's not something Aptera makes, maybe a third party will make something that works for you there.
If you're addicted to big gulps, you get the big gulp cup holder.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
You know,
There you go.
If maybe you
Big
just don't
gulps.
ever drink anything, then you're, can have a thinner profile something. Or maybe you want your phone back here and you want some different storage up here and you want your cup holder in here.
Yeah.
So
talk to me about this infotainment. Like, I see that we got the main screen here, and then you've got this double kind of dashboard-ish screen. How are you guys like divvying it up and what's being displayed there?
Well, one thing we did with the screen by making it smaller is we realized that you can only really reach like there. Like this is your usable area.
Yes.
You want to keep your hand close to the wheel, right? So this, you can have passenger stuff and other information, but it's really not very useful. So this is kind of the touch zone, and that's where you keep all the things that you want to click. We try to put everything we can on the infotainment display, so we don't have as many switches or buttons in the vehicle.
Yep.
The only buttons you see in the vehicle is the button to open the door and the hazard button, because that's a regulation that you have to have a hazard button.
Yep.
But in here, if you want to roll up the windows, you're rolling up the windows on the screen. You can do features, you can turn on the lights with this, but we try to keep all of those features, windshield wipers, all that stuff on the screen. And it's very, the Tesla Model 3 and the Tesla Model Y kind of largely did that. We're trying to take it to the next step.
Yeah.
We've reduced as many connectors in the wiring harness as we can. Sandy Monroe's advised us for a really long time.
Ooh,
He's
that's
the lean manufacturing expert.
Yes,
And
yes.
a great guy, but his company has helped us, learn that connector failures is a real big problem in launch vehicles.
There's so many wires and everything,
So
you don't know where.
Get rid of all the connectors as much as you can,
Yeah.
and you don't have, as many problems in the launch vehicle. So,
Right.
This has, typical music, and we'll have navigation, and the cool part is the solar function, so it'll show you how much solar energy you're taking in. This vehicle only has the roof and the dash.
Yeah.
Attached,
But that's
so
cool
it's
because
not
it'll
much
show you how
information.
much, hey, I'm producing, I'm sucking in from the sun, and how much is going back to the battery.
And hopefully we'll get people to compete against each other. So,
Yeah.
People in a 100-mile radius, we hope they'll compete against each other and try to produce the most power with their aptera per day. And one guy will be like, oh, I parked at this angle today and I got more sun. And somebody will be like, oh, I actually parked on this hill and I got 2 more miles of range.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. The 2 screens in front of the steering wheel, we went with the yoke steering wheel. This is actually an eyes forward vision system. So these 2 screens show you what's going on 180 degrees behind the vehicle. So when you're driving, you're looking to the road and you're seeing what's going on behind you.
Oh.
And the reason we did that is I'm sure you've seen other vehicles that have screens basically where the mirrors are.
Yeah.
We tested that for months and months. We've got, 100 people down in San Diego, plus other people that are involved with the program, and it's just not intuitive.
Yeah.
People don't like it, they don't trust it. But when you put all the information right in front of here, in a couple hours of driving, you get used to like, oh, that information is just there. Like I know when somebody's in my blind spot, I know when somebody's coming up behind me.
That sounds
Like
amazing.
you get used to it really easy,
Right.
and we found that it's just much better than having the screens on the side. So it's kind of like a fighter jet's heads-up display.
Yeah.
You want the pilot, looking at where the plane's going, but you also want him to see everything that's around him, so he can make decisions on that. And
'Cause
that's
I know
the same thing with driving.
Recently, Tesla did that where you signal and then now it'll show your blind spot. But here, you're able to see that all in real time as you're driving, which is just so much more powerful having that kind of range. That's awesome.
And you don't have to look over the screen. You're still looking forward. You're seeing it. You know it. So we think that'll be a great feature.
Exactly.
And we've got the recycled skateboard plus and minus acceleration pedal and brake pedal. So, but yeah, we hope that the interior feels comfortable. And most people see the aptera and they think it's small.
Yeah.
So it's not small. It's pretty big.
No, it's
vehicle.
pretty roomy. Like, I'm laid back, but like, even if I were to sit up, I still have like 2 fists above my head, and I'm 5'10". I think you're taller than me, and you still
I'm
got
6'1",
plenty of room.
yeah.
It doesn't feel tight. It feels pretty airy and roomy, and I think because you guys have all the space back here, a lot of light coming in, which I think light helps a lot.
Yeah,
and you guys have a lot of that. So, what 2 last questions are? Tell me the decision on the doors. Why this kind of door?
The butterfly doors kind of go with the body shape. So when we're talking about where do you put the A-pillars, how do you end the front windshield, it's really a decision on just what works best for this body shape.
And I noticed that similar to kind of like a DeLorean style, like this part opens, but this part is a stationary.
That's an aerodynamic treatment, because if the window rolled all the way up, you would catch a lot of air at the back of the window all the way to the top.
Oh, smart.
And a very sensitive area for the
you got a
vehicle is
hole right here.
as
Nice.
the air comes over the roof.
Yeah. Awesome. So, who's your customer for this vehicle?
We didn't start with a minimum viable product. We didn't start with a market segment. We weren't like, hey, we're going to build a crossover SUV. How many cup holders do we need?
Yeah.
We didn't go to a focus group and say, hey, what does the electric vehicle world want? Oh, they want solar. we started with the math equation on how do you build an efficient vehicle.
Yeah.
We solved that equation. We came up with this crazy shape. We hired Jason Hill, a notable designer who's designed, you know, helped the Porsche Panamera and the Smart Car and a lot of other notable vehicles to make it beautiful. And then we kind of put our design out to the world and said, hey, is this something you want?
Yeah.
And luckily we got 4,000 orders in the first couple weeks. So we're like, okay, this could be a business.
Yeah, totally.
Now we have over 44,000 orders. But so we've received information from people that love it, but we didn't like attack those people. It's just a function of they came to love what we're about and what we're providing. So the people, the information we found out is that a lot of them love it because it's bleeding edge engineering.
Absolutely.
A lot of them love it because it's environmental. It's the most environmentally, you know, responsible thing to do.
Yep.
Use a vehicle that has a quarter of the battery pack of other EVs, so you have a quarter of the aluminum and nickel and cobalt and everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
A quarter of the metal. You know, so environmental responsibility is the thing, and the third thing is people just want to be unique.
Yeah.
You know, people see this and they're like, holy shit! Like this is you want to stand out in your community, like, you know, roll up in your solar powered spaceship and people will be like, oh.
I love that solar powered spaceship. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for walking us through Aptera. I'll put a link down below if you're interested in checking out this car and learning more. Again, thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Yep.